guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be crocheting a popular Pinterest top. So before making this top, there are two things I would like you to take into consideration, as it's going to determine the materials that you would use in creating this top. If you've stumbled upon the top that we're recreating today, I would leave a picture on the screen. You would notice that the body of the work is made up of 9 rows, and the model wearing the top is wearing a size small. So now, if you want to make the top for a bigger size, exactly as seen on the model, you can still make it work. By that, I mean you want it to have the same stripe pattern and the same number of rows. I made this blue top emulating the same stripe pattern like the one the model is putting on, with the same amount of rows, and this is for an extra large. Now, let me show you the one I made for myself in large. If you notice, this one is smaller than this one. So what I did differently was I made use of a 4mm hook for this one and a medium weight yarn. This was made with 5-ply milk cotton yarn, while I made use of a chunky yarn for this blue one, and I made use of a 5mm hook. So if I was to make this in a size small / medium and still maintain this top's pattern, all I would have to do is to probably use a 3.5mm hook and a DK weight yarn. But if you ain't interested in making your top look exactly as seen on the model, you don't need to take all of this into consideration. You can make use of any yarn that you have available and any hook you have available. All you just have to do is to take your measurements. Even if you're trying to recreate the exact same pattern as seen on the model, you're still going to need your measurements. The only thing you need to tweak is your yarn size and your hook size. So now let me teach you guys how to take your measurements. For this top, we'll be needing just one measurement actually. Your full bust measurement. I'll be leaving a diagram as to how to take that measurement. The diagram is not my own. I got that from Pinterest as well. I'll leave it on the screen. So once you take your full bust measurement, you're going to divide that by 2. So mine is, I'm sure you guys are already tired of hearing this. Mine is 36, and when I divide 36 by 2, I'm going to have 18. So once you get that figure, you're going to deduct 2 from that figure. So for me, 18 minus 2 is 15. So I know that the first panel I'll be making for my star, from here to here, the parts that would wrap around my bust should measure 16 inches. Now take your measurements and we'll start the tutorial. To begin, we're going to start by making a magic ring. If you've not made a magic ring before, all you have to do is to wrap your yarn around your 2 fingers like so, insert your hook into the loop and pull. So you'll be left with this shorter loose end that you can easily torque to make this smaller. So once you've done that, chain up 3. And in this magic ring, we're going to place 14 more double crochet. So I've made 14 double crochet into the magic ring. So I'm just going to tug at this shorter loose end to make this tighter. So once you've done that, what you're going to do is make a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of our starting chain. So this chain we made here would slip stitch into the 3rd chain. And this chain 3 we made at the beginning counts as 1 double crochet. So in total, we now have 15 double crochet into our magic ring. For row 2, chain up 1 like so, and now we're going to go back into the 3rd chain that we slip stitched in, and make a single crochet. Once you've done that, chain up 8. Then we are going to skip 2 chains and go into the 3rd chain with a single crochet. And into the next, make a half double crochet. Into the next, make 1 double crochet. Into the next, go in with 1 double crochet. Now, in the next chain, we are going to make 1 treble crochet. To do that, yarn over 2 times, insert your hook into the chain, yarn over, pull through. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. So once you've done that, make a treble crochet in the next chain. And this is how it looks like. So now we're going to skip 2 stitches in the first row. 1, 2. And go into the 3rd with a single crochet. Now we are going to repeat what we did here. Chain up 8. And once you've done that, skip 2 chains and go into the 3rd with a single crochet. Into the next chain, make 1 half double crochet. In the next 2 chains, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each of them. And in the next 2 chains, we'll make 1 treble crochet. And this is how it looks like. So skip 2 stitches in row 1 and go into the 3rd with a single crochet. So now you're going to repeat this pattern till you have 2 stitches remaining from row 1. So you chain up 8 like normal and make this pattern down, skip 2 stitches, make your single crochet, repeat. So I'm done. I've worked till I have just 2 stitches remaining from row 1. So what I'm going to do now is to skip those 2 stitches. You're going to see a stitch here that looks like it's an additional stitch, but this is just the slip stitch that we made in row 1, so this doesn't count as a stitch. So skip these 2 stitches inclusive of the slip stitch and make a slip stitch into the first single crochet that you made for row 2. So this is how row 2 looks like. So the next thing now we're going to do is to chain up 1 for here and cut. For this tutorial, I'm trying to recreate the exact stripe pattern as seen in the picture. I'm going to start off my row 3 with another color, and that's going to be white. But if you're not working with the stripe pattern, you can start up your row 3 with the same color that you just cut off, or you can start up your row 3 with any other color that you have. Now for row 3, remember we skipped 2 chains before we made our single crochet here. So I'm going to insert my hook underneath those 2 chains that we skipped and attach my yarn. Once you've attached your yarn, chain up 3 and into that same chain 2 space, make 2 more double crochet. So we have a total of 3 double crochet in this chain 2 space because this chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. Now flip your work like this. You're going to skip this single crochet stitch here and go into the next stitch and make 1 double crochet. So now in the next 3 stitches, we are going to make 1 double crochet in each of them. So in total, I have 4 double crochet made. So we are left with 1 double crochet on this side. So yarn over, insert your hook into the last stitch on this side. Yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So this is like making a double crochet without finishing it up. So now we're going to go into the single crochet that we made here and do the same thing. And into the first stitch on this other side and do the same thing. So you should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the 4 loops. And we just made 3 double crochet together. So in the next 4 stitches, we'll make 1 double crochet in each of them. So I've made 4 double crochet. Now we have 1 stitch remaining on this side. So you're going to skip this stitch and go into the chain 2 that we skipped over here on top and make 3 double crochet. Chain up 2 and into that same space make 3 double crochet. And this is what you should have. So now we are going to skip the single crochet stitch here and make 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to make 1 more double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So now we are back with 1 stitch on this side. We would repeat what we did here. Make an unfinished double crochet like so. Go into the single crochet here and make an unfinished double crochet as well, and into the first stitch on the side and make an unfinished double crochet. After doing that, now we are basically going to be repeating this pattern till we get to our starting chain. Let's do it one time again. In the next 4 stitches, make 1 double crochet in each of them. We're going to skip this last stitch here and go underneath the 2 chains for this side. If you cannot insert your hook into the top part, if you're finding it hard to insert your hook into it like this, you can insert your hook into the side of this single crochet. It really doesn't matter. I did that here because I was having problems passing my hook underneath the chain 2 space here. But if you can pass your hook underneath it, it's going to be much better. So in here, do the same thing we did here. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So skip this single crochet stitch and go into the half double crochet and make 1 double crochet. So you're going to make 1 more double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And this is how it looks like. So I'm going to repeat the pattern off camera till I get to my starting chain. Now I'm back to my starting chain. What I'm going to do next is to make 3 more double crochet in here so that this side can look like this side. Then chain up 2. So now we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of our starting chain. For row 4, chain up 3. And now we are going to make 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till we get to the last stitch for this side before this 3 double crochet together stitch. So if you're going to have problems locating your 3 double crochet together stitch in the middle, when you're done making the stitch, just place a stitch marker on top so that you don't get confused. But it's really obvious when you look at your stitch like this. This side that is a bit bigger is the 3 double crochet together stitch. So I'm going to make 1 double crochet in each of these stitches till I have 1 stitch on this side, which is this stitch remaining. So now I'm at the very last stitch for this side. I'm going to insert my hook here and make an unfinished double crochet, and into the middle here, this 3 double crochet together stitch, I'll do the same, and into the first double crochet on this side, I would do the same. So I'm just repeating the 3 double crochet together stitch for row 4. Now continue making 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till you get to this chain space. So now I'm at the chain 2 space. I'm going to go into this with 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. From here onwards, I'll make 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till I get to the last stitch for this side, which is this. Now this is very important here. When you're working on this side, always remember to place your first double crochet in the very first stitch. So you just pull this back a bit and insert your hook into the first stitch here. So now I'm at the last stitch for this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did here. Make an unfinished double crochet, and into this double crochet 3 together, we're going to make an unfinished double crochet, and into the first stitch on this side would make an unfinished double crochet. Yarn over and pull through. So now repeat this pattern exactly like we did. from here round till you get to your starting chain. If it's hard for you, just start from this stitch after we did the 3 double crochet stitch together and repeat till you get to your starting chain. Now to finish up row 4, we're going to make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of our starting chain. So for me, I'm going to be changing up colors here. So I'm just going to chain up 1 and cut. So if you're not changing colors here, you're just going to repeat what you did for row 4. But since I'm changing colors, I'm going to chain up 1 and cut, and I'll be starting up from this chain space here. That's like a personal preference for me. I like to start from the chain space when I'm starting up with a new color. So now I'll be going in with my 3rd color. So me, I want to start off from this chain space here. So I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over, and chain up 3. And into that same chain space, I will make 2 double crochet. And now I will make 1 double crochet like normal till I get to the last double crochet on this side. So I'm at the last double crochet on this side. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook, pull through, and we'll be making our unfinished double crochet. And into this 3 double crochet together stitch, we'll make an unfinished double crochet, and into the stitch over here, we'll make an unfinished double crochet. So from here onwards, we'll just repeat what we did in row 4. We would make 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till we get to our chain space here. So I'm at the chain 2 space here. I'm going to make 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into that chain space. So once I've done this, I'll make 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till I get to the last stitch on this side. Remember to pull this part so that you can walk into the first double crochet. This slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch, so I'll just walk into here and make a double crochet. So I have 1 stitch remaining on this side, so I'll make 1 unfinished double crochet in here. In the next stitch, another unfinished double crochet, and in the first stitch on this side, I would make 1 unfinished double crochet and pull through to make 3 double crochet together. Now repeat from here to here around till you get to your starting chain. So now I'm going to make 3 double crochet into this chain space. Chain up 2. I'll make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the starting chain. So from here onwards, you're going to repeat rows 4 and 5. They are basically the same thing actually. It's just that I attached a new color for row 5 and I started off from the chain space. So you're going to repeat rows 4 and row 5 till this is wide enough. Like, remember the measurements we did at the beginning, right? That I got 16 inches. You have to repeat rows 4 and 5 till the width of your top. So, if you spin your top like this, you're going to get this. So any which way you spin your top, you're going to get the wider side in the middle, and they all measure the same. So just keep working till here to here measures the same amount you got when you did your little mathematics. So for me, I'll keep making more rows till here to here measures up to 16 inches. And since I'm trying to make the exact pattern on the top, I'll be making 9 rows for mine. I have done this before, so I know that 9 rows with this hook size and yarn weight will give me 16 inches. So I'll make this till I have 9 rows of this. Like I said in the beginning, if you're not concerned about getting the exact pattern on the top, you can make as much rows as you want to make, but just make sure that from here to here gives you the measurements that you got at the beginning. I will do mine off camera and show you how mine looks. So now I'm done with mine. I did a total of 9 rows like I said I would, and from here to here measures 16 inches. So what I'm going to do now is to chain up 1 and cut. So after you've done that, you're going to map out which pointy side you want to be the top of your work. It can be either of these pointy sides. This is going to be mine, and this will be the bottom of my top, and this will be the side of my top. This will be the sides of my top. So we are going to make the border now. I'm going to start from one of the sides that I've mapped out and attach my yarn. For this, you have to attach in your chain space. So let me zoom in a bit. Chain up 3 like usual, and we'll make 2 more double crochet into this chain space. So after you've done this, you're going to repeat the pattern as usual. 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till you get to the last stitch on the side. Then you do your 3 double crochet together stitch. Then work till you get to your chain space. Then make your 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So you will just repeat the same thing we've been doing around till you get to the second corner here. I've worked my way round and I'm at the second side, which is here. I'm now going to place 3 double crochet into the chain space. But I won't be finishing the third one because I would attach a new color to continue making the border. So now I'm going to go in with this color and chain up 2. So I like to hold this together to make my chain so I can hide the loose ends. Then I will carry the white yarn and turn my work in order to hide this as I work. Now in the very first stitch, make 1 double crochet. So from here onwards, you're going to make 1 double crochet till you get to the double crochet stitch before the 3 double crochet together stitch, which is this. So now that we're turning our work, this might confuse you a little, so you can either put a stitch marker in here when you finish making it, or you eyeball it. Like now, these are the 2 stitches close to the 3 double crochet together stitch, and you can see how small both of them look, and this is the stitch and how big this looks. So it's quite easy to still eyeball if you want to eyeball it. I'm at the last stitch on this side. I'm going to do the 3 double crochet together stitch. Once you've done that, you're going to continue making 1 double crochet in each of these stitches till you get to this chain space. So now you're going to repeat row 2 of the border, which is this row, for 2 more rows. So from here onwards, we're going to make the back panel kinda that would be attaching our straps to. Now chain up 2 like normal, and we're going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch till we have 2 stitches remaining on this side. Once you have 2 stitches remaining, you're going to make a decrease stitch. So make an unfinished double crochet into 1 stitch, and in the next stitch make another unfinished double crochet. Now you're going to flip your work and slip stitch into the very first stitch, which is here, and into the next stitch make a slip stitch. Now into the next stitch make a slip stitch. So chain up 2. This 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So into the next stitch till we get to the very last stitch on this row, we'll make 1 double crochet. So now for row 3 of the straps, you're going to chain up 2 like usual, turn your work, and make 1 double crochet in each of the stitches till you have 4 stitches remaining. So I have 4 stitches remaining. Remember, this doesn't count as a stitch. So I would make my decrease stitch in the next 2 stitches. From here onward, repeat row 2 and 3 one more time. So I'm done. What I did for row 4 was what I did for row 2, and what I did for row 5 was what I did in row 3. So I just repeated it one more time. Now for row 6, turn your work and slip stitch into the first stitch and into the second stitch. Then slip stitch into the third stitch like normal, and chain up 2. So we have 2 stitches remaining. We're going to make our double crochet decrease. And that's it for the strap here. Chain up 1 and cut. So now for the second side, which is this side, you're going to repeat the exact same thing you did for the straps on this side. So just attach your yarn in the very first double crochet stitch. Remember, this chain 2 here doesn't count as a stitch, it's just our starting chain. Now chain up 2, and in that same stitch make a double crochet. So you're going to make 1 double crochet till you have 2 stitches remaining, then you do your decrease stitch. Just repeat exactly what you did here, and I'll meet you guys when I'm done with mine. So I'm done with both of my straps, and this is how it looks like. So you're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing that we did here for here as well. Starting from the border, you make your border and you make your straps. So guys, I'm done. This is how mine looks like so far. So now I'm going to kind of coat the sides of the top so that this can look cleaner before we make our straps. So I actually didn't cut off the yarn when I made my last strap, so I'm going to start my border from here. But if you've already cut off your yarn, just attach your yarn and we'll start cutting the top. So we're going to do this with like single crochets. Chain up 1, and in the first row make 2 single crochet. I like to skip here and go into the stitches that I skip and make 1 single crochet in each. Then into the next row I will make 2 single crochet. Then I will skip here and go into these 2 stitches I skipped with 1 single crochet in each. So just repeat that till you get to the very last row. So now I'm going to make 1 single crochet in this double crochet together stitch at the bottom. Then we'll continue what we did here on this side as well. So I'm at the top here. I'm going to make 1 single crochet into the stitch. Then we'll now be working by the sides. So into the side, make 2 single crochet into the first row, like so. Now into the next row, make 2 single crochet. Into the next row, make 2 single crochet. So I'm going to keep on making 2 single crochet in each of these rows till I get to the very first row of our border. From here onwards, we start making 1 single crochet in each of the stitches till we get to the chain space here. So when you get to the chain space here, you're going to make 2 single crochet into that chain space. Chain 2, 2 single crochet into the chain space. So now from here onwards, we're going to mirror what we did on this side for this side as well. So you would make one single crochet in each of the stitches till you get to the first row of your border. Then you make 2 single crochet in each of the rows here. And when you get to the strap, you repeat what we did on the other side. Repeat what we did here for the straps on this side till you get to this point, and I'll meet you guys when I'm done with mine. So now we're going to be working on the bottom of the top. So in the very first row here, make 2 single crochet. So you're going to do the same thing we did for this side. So make 2 single crochet in each of this row till you get to the second row of the border, which is here. Now into here, this chain space, just make 1 single crochet. I would continue making 1 single crochet in each of the stitches till we get to this chain space. So from here till we get to the very last row here for our straps, we'll make 2 single crochet in each row. So I'm going to make 1 single crochet in this stitch and slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made here and cut. So now we're done cutting our top, and this is how it looks like. Let me show you guys. So this is how it looks like. Now we're going to make the straps. We're going to make chains to create the straps, but you can actually slip stitch after making your chains to make your chains thicker, or you just make an I-cut stitch like I did for this purple top. Anyhow you decide to do yours is fine, but for this tutorial I'll be making my straps with just chains. Now to make the straps, look for the middle of your stitch in the last row and insert your hook into the middle here. Now attach your yarn. So I like to hold on 2 of my straps together like this to make it tighter and start making your chains. Another way to make your cord thicker, if you want to, use 2 strands of yarn together while doing this. I'm already almost out of this color, so I'm just going to make use of 1. And making your straps thicker would work well if you're a size large or extra large to help give you more support. So make this as long as you want it to be and fast enough. Then you're going to repeat that in the remaining 3 straps that you made for your top. I'll do mine off camera and show you how mine looks. So I'm done making 4 of my straps. Now you're going to make a very long strap that you would pass into this chain 2 that we did on top here. This is going to be the strap that you tie around your neck. I don't know how many chains I did for mine, but I just made it long enough to wrap around my neck. And that's it for this tutorial. Just go ahead and hide your loose ends and try this on. If you watch this video to this point, thank you so much for watching. Tell me if you enjoyed this video in the comment section, and I would love to see pictures of your work. You can send it to me through any of my social media platforms. It will really make my day. For now, bye, and see you guys in another tutorial.